Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Goodland, the land where everything is good, because what is better than hanging out with two best friends? My name is Norrin, and I am one of those best friends.
My name is Michael. I'm the other best friend.
Yeah, you are.
Thank goodness, man. That'd be awkward.
How you been, man? How's your week?
I've been good. Busy week, but you know what? Just managing school and work. Everything's going well. I'm about like a third through the semester. It's amazing how fast time flies, you know?
Wow.
So I'll be grateful to have a break this coming weekend. It's going to be like a 3-4 day weekend. So I'm going to enjoy that. But for now, it's just being amazed with how much time is flying by, I guess.
Yeah, it's
How about you?
crazy to think that it's almost June. Like we're almost at the halfway point.
Yeah, same. It's gone by super fast, especially I feel like the last 2 months for me have gone by super fast.
Yeah, I feel like since I started working, things have been kind of picking up.
Yeah, it definitely helps, you know, when you don't have a moment to breathe because you're involved with work and school.
Yeah.
That definitely helps. Makes time go by faster. So
That's true. Yeah. My week was pretty good. We had it was pretty standard at this point now. Nothing too crazy happened. But I feel like we played D&D last night, and we recorded a new
yeah, we
episode
did.
of Dungeon Stories, and I think that was really fun. We got to try out some aspects. Like I think that was a fun way that we handled the characters. Keep an eye out for, I think that'll be episodes 12 and 13 of Dungeon Stories that we did last night. So
Yeah, those are some good ones.
keep your eyes peeled for those, because they were pretty fun, and we got to kind of explore. One of my favorite parts of the game is just how like it never really goes according to plan, right? Like that was totally different from how I had imagined those sessions going. So it was cool to see them play out and take life in that way. So
yeah,
that was
that
pretty exciting.
collaborative storytelling, that's like my favorite aspect of it, just because you know, whereas if you and I were writing a book, you know, or even if we're creating a world, we have like complete control over that. But when you add in 3 other people, it's just so fun because you never would have thought, you know, these things out yourself, but now all of you together come up with this, and it's just like an incredible experience. You know, everyone gets to enjoy it, everyone gets to bring something to the table, and it does add that surprise aspect, I'd say.
Yeah, for sure. We could probably do a whole episode just talking about what makes
We
D&D
probably
so
could.
special.
We probably will eventually.
And honestly, like it would be kind of cool to go back and recount some of our favorite stories from games that we played in high school, like
That's true.
because we made a lot of good memories doing that. But that is not why we're here this week. This week, what we are doing is revisiting the Am I the A-hole subreddit on reddit.com, because we had ended the original Am I the A-hole episode with a little bit of a cliffhanger. We had a query that we had posed and left that to ruminate and allowed it to kind of stew inside of our brains so that we could come up with an answer for it. So let me give a quick refresher. How does that sound?
Yeah, that sounds good. Nice refresh, let everyone remember, you know, for everybody else.
Yeah, not that we need a refresher on what the question was. This is for all our listeners, not for our sake at all. So the way that this question was set up, so there were three roommates living in an apartment together. There was the OP, the original poster. Then there was roommate one and roommate two. Roommate one owned a cat, but roommate one moved out and was paying roommate two $100 to keep the cats and take care of them.
Is that monthly?
Yes, 100 a month. But in the time since roommate one left, roommate two has also left, leaving the cats with OP. And to handle this, it seems that roommate two is paying OP $75 out of the 100 that roommate one is paying him. So roommate the OP, the poster, has decided that they no longer want to take care of the cats because they don't like the litter box, and they don't like the responsibility of it. They're not really that into cats to begin
Yeah,
with.
it sounds like it's become more of a chore.
Yeah, and something that they didn't really ask for, something they didn't sign up for. So roommate one has decided to tell, sorry, OP has decided to tell roommate one, the owner of the cats, that they have until the 16th of May. Oh man, I wonder if we can get an edit to this. Because that's passed, that's happened. So I wonder what the
Yeah.
decision was, but they said that they had till the 16th of May before OP would find a new home for the cats. So our question here is, we need to decide, Michael, is OP the a-hole for getting rid of these cats? And it seems that it would be, they would give the warning to roommate two because they don't speak to roommate one anymore.
Yeah, that's right. They're on not speaking terms
Yeah.
with the first roommate. Yeah, how much did it say how much time they like gave warning? They said on the 16th or the 15th that would be the day they'd get rid of the cat. Does it mention, like, is that a month to
This was
roommate?
posted 20 days ago.
Okay.
So that would have been on the 5th. And if they had till the 16th, that's almost 2 weeks. That's like a week and a half.
Yeah, like 10 days. Okay.
So, I mean, it's
Yeah.
not terrible.
Yeah, no, not terrible. I mean, yeah, I mean, I definitely think that they're in the right. Like, it's their right to be able to do that because it's not their cat. They're not even getting paid the full amount.
Right.
It's like, that trickle down economics. That they're getting a portion of it when, there's no reason that the other person should be taking a cut. So I feel like this person is certainly in the right. And they gave them like some time to pick the cat up, which is better than what a lot of people would have done. So I can appreciate that. I'd say that this person, I would probably say, not the a-hole in this situation. Maybe they could have given more time than 10 days or 2 weeks to pick up the cat, but I don't know. What do you say?
I'm with you. I think they are not the a-hole in this situation. They didn't agree to keep the cats in the first place. Roommate two did, and then roommate two left without saying anything. So he said that roommate one loved the cats so much, but they just weren't able to take the cats with them. But if they can't come get the cats, and if roommate two, who was being paid to take care of them, won't come get them to take care of them, then I think the OP has no reason to worry about it, especially if the cats will get better care somewhere else.
Yeah, and I mean, think of the alternative. The first roommate number one, they're moving to a place where they can't have cats. If it wasn't for the kindness of their roommates, they would have had to get rid of the cats a while ago. Like,
that's true. This would have been the solution regardless.
This is what would have been. And I don't know how much time has passed if it mentions that, but they've probably had a good amount of time where they've been able to make other arrangements themselves, or come to terms with it.
Yeah,
you
it
know,
sounds
or
like it's been 3 months according to the post.
okay, so I guess that hasn't been too long in that situation. So I guess if there wasn't any like intention of retrieving the cats one day, then yeah, I mean, the original scenario would have been that they would have had to get rid of the cats, unfortunately. So, and you know, that's the thing when you move, some things you just aren't able to take with you. So, as sad as that may be, I definitely don't enjoy that aspect, but unfortunately, that's kind of the reality there.
Yeah, and that's what the OP added at the end of it. That they're moving and can't afford the pet deposit for 2 extra animals. So it's better to find a home for them than.
Oh yeah, certainly. I feel like this person's in the right. It's just an unfortunate circumstance that everyone's finding themselves
It does
in.
blow. I mean, it sucks to be the one to break that news to your friend, like, hey, I'm gonna give your cats
Mhm.
away. But
Yeah, like that's not good, especially if they're not on speaking terms now. Like,
yeah, yeah. I know we ended like totally hating each other, but I'm giving your cats away.
yeah,
I
yeah.
promise it's not a personal attack.
So yeah, that's just you know, the OP in this situation is just kind of made the bad guy through circumstance,
Yeah,
unfortunately. But I think they're entirely in their right.
awesome. Yeah, me too. I think we agree on that one. Um, well, good. I'm glad we ruminated on that, and I think we came to a pretty good decision about it.
Yeah.
Do you have another one for us to think
Dude,
about?
was there any update about?
No, the only edit um said that was basically confirming that they can't talk to him, to the original owners. There was no edit about like what happened. Let me do a quick control F and see if they replied to any of these. No. I've screenshots proving I've told the person giving me money to care for the cats that they have to be gone by the 16th. At the end of the day, if he hasn't told the original owner, yeah. Yeah,
Hmm,
there's no update on how it went. I guess he told them and then that was it.
yeah.
So we don't have, holy shit. Sorry, I don't swear on Goodland. Um Previous roommate had 10 cats when he left. He had to find homes for most of them and wanted to keep these two. But he was moving with a friend and couldn't take his dog, plus a few of the cats with him. So he left them here and paid his ex boyfriend, the other roommate, to keep them. That sounds like a mess.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Just it sounds like it's probably in the best interest to just clear your hands of the cats and just say I'm done with with this whole situation.
No more.
That sounds like a confusing mess to keep track of.
Yeah, what a life this person must live.
Oh man. Well, let's see. Do you have anything else? Do you have another one for us
Yeah, I do.
to solve? Another moral quandary for us?
Yeah, this is a moral quandary. I'll start out by saying this, Nor, do you have any like famous family recipes? You know, like the kind that are handed down or even like secret recipes. Do you have anything like that?
Yeah, yeah, we do. My great grandfather made sourdough waffles, um,
Ooh, that
and
sounds
that
incredible.
sourdough waffle recipe we all have we all try our hands at as it gets passed down, and it's fantastic. One of the best breakfasts that you could eat.
Ooh, man. Yeah, that does sound incredible. Is it like a secret? Like if I were to ask what that recipe is that something that you need to get permission? Is that something that like, oh yeah, we give it to everyone? Where
It's
does this recipe rank?
probably something that I would have to make a case for. You know, like Michael's basically family, so we can let him in on the secret. You know.
Yeah, certainly. I'm glad that you do have that because this all comes down to a German chocolate cake recipe.
Ooh,
um this is what this comes down to, and I feel like especially like in this modern day it's not too often that people have like family recipes, like at least that are getting utilized often. You know,
right.
usually people just go to like Pinterest or you know look up online recipes, but this one has to do with an individual. So this guy is 28 years old. Actually no, it looks like Okay, no, it looks like there's this woman here. She is 20 years old, and she loves baking. It's her hobby.
Okay.
She baked throughout college, and she's been working on her skill. And she has a friend who is a guy who's 29, so they're really close. This guy was her in her major, and he belonged to a frat. And she was allowed to use their huge kitchen for baking as long as she'd give everyone some food.
Okay.
So it sounds
Seems
like
like a
they had
fair deal.
yeah, it seems like a totally fair deal. And then so she found out that like his favorite cake was German chocolate cake. So she worked on perfecting them. And apparently she spent like 4 years perfecting the German chocolate cake recipe, just
Okay, so
trying out.
this secret recipe is her own creation.
Yeah, this is her own creation. She
Okay.
spent like 4 years just perfecting the cake, and finally she found a winner. She said that, food is her love and friendship love language. Whenever her friends hit a milestone, she gives them food. She always tries to be kind and generous in that way, which I really appreciate. And then so it looks like her friend, he got a new job and took him out of a bad work environment, so she's really happy, so she sends him a German chocolate cake. And then his girlfriend reaches out and she says, you know what, he loved the cake so much, can you give me the recipe so I can start making it? And she said, normally I wouldn't mind too much, but this is kind of a personal recipe. She spent a lot of time on it. She's even thinking of like selling it in farmers markets.
Hmm.
And this has just become something personal to her. So she says no. So she tells the girlfriend, I'm not going to give you this German chocolate cake recipe. And then the girlfriend starts a fight between the two of them, that, she's being selfish and rude for not sharing this recipe. And obviously the OP is saying, you know what, this is my recipe. Like I made this, I don't really feel comfortable, like, and you've turned this into a huge fight. So
Right.
now, of course, I don't want to give you it.
Yeah.
So that is the story here. What is your first take?
Hmm. My first thought is that, like, I mean, the idea of a secret recipe is something that should be pretty common. People should kind of understand that. And like, as a creative myself, though I'm not necessarily creating god tier German cake recipes, um, I
I
definitely
wish.
have I definitely have a few ideas rattling around in my head that I get the urge to like share with people, or I just want to like tweet about them or something. But then I convince myself not to, because it's like, it's such a good idea that what if someone picks it up and has like more resources than me and is able to make it before I do. So I'm definitely like hesitant to kind of share some of the ideas that I have, for fear that someone might mass produce them before I am able to. So if she's looking at monetizing this at like farmers market and stuff like that, it makes sense that she wouldn't want to share it, because once you put that recipe in the hands of someone else, there's no telling who they'll pass it on to. And all of a sudden your
Certainly.
special recipe isn't special anymore. So first glance, I get it, but thinking about it a little more, I think there's a couple compromises that she could have come to.
Yeah, I will say that she did make an edit saying that she told her that, if she wanted to work on making any recipes, she would give her tips and guide her through that process, but she wouldn't give her the actual recipe. So that was a slight edit that she did make, I noticed.
Yeah, I like. Well, let's hear your thoughts before I share some of my solutions that I've brainstormed. Let's hear your thoughts on it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of why I asked you the question. I feel like, although it's maybe a little bit older of a practice, that the concept of secret recipes or family recipes is something that it's not too uncommon. So I feel like, that should be something that should be respected. If the
Mm-hmm.
person says no, I think overall, especially since she put the time and effort, at the end of the day, I feel like that is what should be respected. That's kind of my first take here. I mean, really, my first take is that I really want cake, but
Yeah, that's
that
true. That
that
sounds super good right
I
now.
know I could really go for some of that cake, but that's that's kind of the first thought that I have, is that, you know what, I feel like secret recipes, there's something that should be kind of expected, and especially because you can go online and find a lot of recipes. Um, so yeah, that's kind of my first take, is like, I feel like this person certainly is in the right. Um, it certainly seems to have turned into, again, an unfortunate circumstance. Um, especially with this girlfriend being upset that she's not getting the recipe. And I also understand that, if I really, if you shared with me those waffles and I really wanted to make them, and you're like, oh, sorry, can't give it to you, right away, I'd first be like, oh man, that really sucks. But probably as I gave it some time, I'd certainly understand it. I'm never gonna be upset that someone's not sharing something, especially if that's important to them. So
Yeah. My proposed solution, bear with me on this. So
yeah, let's hear this.
what I think that she should have done is agree to give her the recipe, but then before she sends it, create a version of it that just leaves out the kind of special ingredients, so then you send it to her and then she makes it and she's like, it just, it wasn't as good as the one you made. And you're like, it's just, what can I say? It's just baker's touch. Like
Yeah,
I
it's a
wrote the
secret
recipe, I've just done it.
ingredient.
Yeah, exactly. So if you just leave out the secret ingredient, don't mention it, and then just, you could have avoided the whole fight
That
and
is a
keep your
good
secret
point.
secret. Because then if they're like, it's just is missing something, it doesn't have that special touch. You can just say, you can't recreate art. You ask Da Vinci to paint Mona Lisa again, and it's going to end up as just like a random pick crew that you can make your Twitter AV with. You can't recreate that magic again.
Yeah, that is a really good point. It's especially, if she offers that she's going to help her out with any recipe, like, why don't you just give her like the closest recipe, or even like, even better. I mean, I think of like, cooking all the time. Like, I've gotten to the point where I don't really take measurements on things. You just say something like that, like, oh, well, here's like the base recipe I start with, but really I kind of go by taste. That could
Yeah,
be a kind of like easy way of, here's half of the recipe, but I'm not going to give you the full thing.
you can make it like a Great British Baking Show style challenge, like the challenges they do in the middle of the show where they give them like the recipe that
Add
has no
sugar,
measurements. Yeah, and it just says like,
bake.
yeah, it just says bake, and then it doesn't tell you how long or how hot. Like
Yeah.
just host a Great British Baking Show challenge for her. That's
I
the
like
real
that.
answer here.
I think that's a good one. I like, one of the comments here says, what, I bet the boyfriend would be upset when he finds out this girlfriend is putting his German chocolate cake supply at risk.
Yeah. He's like, babe, what are you doing?
She's like, oh, hey, we're not friends with her anymore. What?
No, no.
What have you done?
Oh man, that's a good one. And God, now not only do I want cake, but I want to binge the Great British Baking Show again.
Yeah, definitely.
I absolutely love that show. Have you watched it, Michael?
Oh yeah,
Okay, good.
definitely with Kel, she
Yeah, I was
likes
gonna say you and
watching
Kelsey
it,
need to
but
sit down and watch it if you haven't, because it makes me so happy.
it's a good one. It's a lot of fun. Maybe we'll try a show where we try doing one of their recipes and see how it turns out.
Wouldn't that be cool? Like a Goodland live stream, and we get together and we just bake.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome. Save that one in the vault because that's a great
I'll
idea.
write that one down.
All right,
All
what do
right.
you
Do you
say? You
have
ready for
a,
another one?
yeah, I was gonna say, do you have one?
Yeah, yeah. This one's kind of fun, especially as someone who works in a job that does like customer service stuff. So
Oh, these are good.
this poster says, I am a high schooler with a weekend job at a coffee shop. My coworkers who work weekends with me are James, the owner's son, and Danielle, a college student who sometimes also works weekends. James is a shift manager, um, but it's not like a formal thing. But the poster goes on to say sometimes customers will come in and just be angry about very minor things, like blow up about nothing. I don't know if they're in a bad mood already and looking for someone to take it out on or what, but it's a lot, and it's sad to have to be a grown man taking your anger out on high schoolers and college kids. which, as you know, someone who has worked in customer service between the movie theater and the bank, that is how it goes. Some people come in a bad mood and just get complaints, just complain about the littlest things. So the poster and James were joking about having a little fun with these angry customers and trying to find a way to get them off of their backs. So the plan that they settled on was, so one day at work, poster came in and a guy was having a temper tantrum about how they don't make the coffee hot enough, which they can't do a thing about because it comes right out of the machine. You can't exactly adjust the temperature of that. So James, the shift
That's
manager,
fair.
comes in and is like, "Sir, is there a problem here?" And the customer starts ranting at him too. So James turns to the poster and says, "This is unacceptable. You're fired." And the poster starts acting really sad, like, "No, please don't fire me. My family needs the money. I need this job, please." And James starts playing up this like hard, stern facade, tells him to take off his apron and leave. So then the angry guy starts to backtrack, like, "Oh, it's not that big a deal. You don't need to fire her over it. I didn't mean it." And James is like, "No, we pride ourselves on our customer service." So after all that, it was all just acting. So the posters still had their job, of course. But
That's good.
apparently they've done that a few times now. So if whenever a customer gets snippy, one of them comes in and pretends to fire the other one. And almost every time the customer comes in and apologizes, saying they didn't mean it. But apparently, when the poster was sharing this story with their friends at school, their friends said that it was mean. And it's a terrible prank to let someone go away thinking they've got someone who desperately needs the money fired. So that's their genius plan, but apparently they know some people who disagree with it. They say it's rude. So
Mhm.
what are your thoughts on it?
I mean, I think it's hilarious. I think it's hilarious. And, just me as a person, I would never like blow up or get upset at a worker.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
I mean, the closest, I mean, I've done landscaping. I worked as a lifeguard, so not quite customer service, but like, pretty close. I was a missionary for the longest time. That's pretty, I'd say working with people all day long, that's what I was doing. And, I just never would get upset at someone, to the point, especially like I understand there are things that they can't control. And likely me getting upset about it, like right there in the moment, isn't going to be able to help anyways. So like I definitely understand that. And I think it's just hilarious. me personally, I think that's a pretty good joke. Um, I can certainly see how it would be upsetting, if someone was rude and you think that you got someone fired. But, at the end of the day, I think that probably is like a reflection on the person themselves, like, maybe I shouldn't be that rude. Was it that big of an inconvenience? That's kind of like what the first thing my mind goes to, where I understand that, this probably would be upsetting for someone. But at the end of the day, why is it upsetting to them?
Yeah, like if it's like they're willing to bring it up and make this big thing about it and yell at these workers, but as soon as they face the consequences of those actions, they start backtracking on it. It's like, so how much did it really mean to you? What was the purpose of
Yeah.
you yelling and creating a scene over it if this result isn't what you were striving for? Like, if you, like, what was the point if as soon as complications or consequences arise, you back out?
Yeah, I mean that's definitely like a factor. Obviously, like if you complain about something, I'd assume most people aren't hoping to get the person fired, But at the end of the day, like someone's gonna get in trouble. Someone's gonna have some consequence. So, I mean, something to be mindful of.
Yeah, and there's a big difference between like a complaint and yelling at the employees because the coffee's not as hot as you like it to be.
Yeah, I was gonna say that those are two different things. So certainly, I mean, yeah, in this case, I think the joke, I think it's funny. At least me personally, it sounds like it's hoping these workers let off a little bit of steam. At the end of the day, I mean, I would say no one gets hurt, but at the end of the day, someone's feelings likely, might get hurt. So definitely be cautious of that. But
Yeah, but at the same time,
Yeah.
like if the customer is yelling at the worker, then
Yeah,
the
I was gonna
worker
say
feels
they've
bad for getting
initiated
yelled at.
it.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
flipping it back and making them feel bad, I think is like perfectly justified because
Yeah, I feel I would do this. I feel like this is justified.
yeah, my biggest thing about it is like if this is the same crew that works every weekend, then if these customers come back in and see you still working there, then like what do you do?
Yeah, I know. I was gonna say they're just gonna need to memorize every person every time.
This is the one we fired John in front of. That's the one we fired Casey in front of.
I know they're gonna have to be careful and be like, okay, but this person witnessed both of them.
Yeah, they have
Like,
to play back the security cam footage and find
yeah,
out who was
imagine,
at the tables.
yeah, imagine being someone who just like, regularly chilled out there at the coffee house, and one day you see someone fire and the other person and then switch the next day. Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
you've
so I
just
mean,
they just keep giving you free scones to keep you quiet.
see, I'm interested. What did the people in the comments say? Because I think both of us agree here.
Yeah, so this post was labeled not the a-hole. So
Okay, that's
it
good.
seemed the majority of people agreed. Um, Bellpunk says that's the perfect way of dealing with hostile customers.
Yeah.
Um, to be honest, I'd be surprised if more of these rude customers aren't satisfied with the firing. I think it'd be funnier if they were happy with it and then came back only to see you still working there. The potential explanation of, oh, that was my twin brother, but now it's my job to support my dying mother and 6 siblings. So you just set up like that Avatar: The Last Airbender episode with, this is my cousin Shu.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's hilarious. And I mean, like, I think it's probably good medicine. Like, if you go around yelling at people for inconveniences, it's probably good medicine to see what that looks like, for someone else to start yelling at someone for a mild inconvenience kind of gives you a little bit of perspective. But I think that's hilarious. So,
Yeah, most people think it's hilarious and a great way to hopefully teach people a lesson. Um, this Reddit user whose name I won't say on our family friendly podcast says OP is a legend. Evelyn 92 says you're not an a-hole at all. You're the hero retailers need. So yeah, I think we're all in agreement.
I agree.
All right. Do you have another moral dilemma that we can
Yeah,
ponder?
yeah, I do. So this person, they're saying that they're over at their friends for a small get together, and the host, she calls him Tom. The host orders fried chicken, so everyone agrees to get some fried chicken from Uber Eats from Popeyes, and the food came super early, and one of their friends hadn't shown up yet, so they're like, okay, we're gonna wait. But then Tom's girlfriend, says, oh well, I'm just gonna eat mine now. You guys can eat later. So then, about an hour later, when everyone else goes to get food, they find that all of the chicken, all the fried chicken skin has been pulled off like the bucket of chicken. So like she goes to the group and she's like, did like this arrive this way? Like what happened? And then the girlfriend is like, oh no, I just ate all of them. That's my favorite part.
Oh. So who wrote this?
So this
Did the
is
did the person who write who did the person who pulled the chicken skin off say, am I the a-hole for eating the chicken skin?
no, this is the person. So there right now we have three people. We have the post writer, the person whose house they're at, and then the person who the whose house they're at and her are dating. So the couple here, the girlfriend ate the chicken skins, and OP is just kind of been there. So yeah, she like asks, and the other person's, the girlfriend is like, oh yeah, no, that's my favorite part, so I ate all of it. And they're like, okay, whatever. So the OP just like eats a chicken sandwich which had been left untouched. It was just like the bucket of fried chicken. And then later, Tom, the guy who instigated this whole thing, requests some like Venmo for all the chicken, and OP is like, hey, I'm only paying for the sandwich I ate because your girlfriend ate all the fried chicken skins. Like, that's not cool. And now Tom is upset at OP for not paying the full amount.
So that's where the issue arises. I see.
Yeah. So this would be, you and I are hanging out.
And like Kelsey picked off all the skin from
yeah, all the chicken skins gone.
Which like would never happen because Kelsey wouldn't be eating fried chicken to begin with.
Yeah, we love chicken. We'll make our own fried chicken. But the thing is like, one, I can't believe someone just ate all the
oh my
fried
God,
chicken skins. Who does that?
That's insane. That is like, we've heard some crazy stories scrolling through this.
Yeah.
We read about a couple that got in a fight because he wouldn't wash his hands after taking a poop. And this is worse. This is worse than the guy who told his friends that he cooked in his family's vomit pot to freak him out. This is worse than that.
This is horrible. Like, the thing is like, at the end of the day, like, those stories, like, okay, the guy was just lazy. He didn't want to wash his hands. the guy who cooked in the pot, it's not that weird to cook in a pot if you clean it. But this person who just eats all the fried chicken skins.
This is malicious. Like, especially like if you even just putting aside the fact that she ate what is the best part of fried chicken, the skin, the fact that
that's what makes it fried chicken.
The fact that she stole that experience from everyone else. If we ignore that, if we ignore the fact that that's just a weird thing to do and probably way more unhealthy than just eating a regular fried chicken. Like, it's probably worse to eat more skin than usual. If we ignore those factors, she still put her hands all over every piece of chicken in the bucket. True, she touched every piece of food that these other people are supposed to eat. She manhandled all of it.
Picked it off and not like bit it off. Like,
yeah. That's if we're being generous. That it was just her hands that were all over it.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah, one person in the comments is like, that'd be like ordering pizza and eating all the toppings off of it. Like,
yeah,
I just eat all the cheese off the sliced pizza. Like,
I left you bread with tomato sauce on it.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. I
left you crappy breadsticks.
Yeah, it's just like, oh my gosh, I think we know whose side we're on.
Yeah, I haven't even begun to ponder the question of how much should the poster pay for it. I'm still processing the maniac that solely ate the skin. Oh my goodness. As far as payment goes, I mean, yeah, that's probably pretty fair. If anything, you should be making the criminal pay more than everyone else. It's the same thing about like if you go out to like a group dinner and you just order a salad and then the assumption is that you're going to split the bill evenly and you're like, no, I'm just going to pay for my salad. Like, it's the same kind of thing where it's like,
yeah.
If you have a plan established beforehand, you kind of have to stick with it. Like if the plan was we are going to split this evenly, I think just go back in and maybe eat a bunch of the Cajun fries that you got from Popeyes. Like, fill up on some of the sides so you can get your money's worth out of it.
Yeah, that's a good compromise, I'd say.
Yeah, I'd say, because like if the agreement beforehand was we are going to split this evenly, then I think you're kind of stuck doing that, because that's kind of factors into like how much money they spent in the first place. Like, if I know I'm going to get reimbursed this much, I'm going to spend this much money on food for everybody.
Yeah, no, that certainly is like a valid point to be made. It's just, I still can't get over the fact that she would eat all the chicken skins.
Me either. I'm still reeling from that. But
Yeah, no, you certainly make like a good point. If that's like what you agree going into, and the OP doesn't elaborate too much, she says that like they all agreed to get chicken. She doesn't say if they all like, okay, we'll split it this amount. She doesn't get into that. But yeah, I mean, if you agree to split with your friends, like you certainly need to kind of stick with that. And then even like if you had planned like, okay, well, I'm just going to eat my sandwich and pay a smaller amount, you kind of need to like vocalize that in the moment, like right away, like, hey, that's not cool. I don't want to pay for that. And then kind of come to an arrangement, whether it's like, okay, well, we'll give you the fries to make up for that, kind
Right.
of like come to a mutual agreement instead of just kind of as an afterthought, like, oh, hey, I'm not doing that.
Yeah. Yeah. I think this is one of those situations where everybody is the a-hole. I don't think there's a
Yeah.
clear winner here. There's definitely a clear loser, and that is the insane person who ate all the chicken skin.
Yeah, that person's not cool.
They
They're the
created a
root of the
rift.
problem. Yeah.
Oh, that gives me the willies.
It's yeah, no, it's an uncomfortable circumstance. And I just, oh man.
All right, you ready for another one?
Yeah, I am. Let's see it.
Okay. So the poster, Reddit user Holiday a Whole Throw says that they had been dating their ex fiance Sarah for 4 years. They'd been planning to get married in November of 2020, but OP found out that at the start of this month, which would have been a year ago, so May 2020, um, they had been their fiance Sarah had been cheating on him. Sarah begged OP to give her another chance, but he broke it off. The problem was that being cheated on in the OP's mind is completely emasculating and humiliating. So OP never told anyone that was the reason he broke up with her. For obvious
Ah.
reasons, Sarah also didn't tell anybody because she was the one that cheated, so she didn't want that getting
You don't go
around.
around tossing that information.
Yeah. So it seems that in the interim, people have been blaming OP for the breakup, including OP's mother, who says that OP just dumped Sarah out of the blue. OP has gone very strict, no contact with Sarah, and Sarah has been talking with OP's mom a lot and convinced OP's mom that if OP and Sarah could talk one more time, they would be able to reconcile. OP's mom has been applying hardcore pressure on OP to talk with Sarah, but OP says there's no chance that they will ever get back together. So on the night that this was posted, OP goes over to mom's because she's hosting a family get together for Christmas Eve. He arrives there, is there for a bit, talking with his aunts and uncles and cousins. The doorbell rings and opens up the door, and in walks Sarah.
Oh no.
And OP says, Mom, what is going on? And Mom says, I invited Sarah so that we can work this out in the spirit of the holidays. So OP says the only way to explain his side of the story is to tell everyone that he was cheated on. So now it's not just, it's his entire family. He didn't want to tell anyone to begin with, but now it would be in front of his entire family. So as his mom goes to the front door, he ducks into the bathroom. Mom starts knocking on the bathroom door, saying that OP needs to come out and talk to Sarah like an adult. OP kicks the window screen out of the window, climbs out of the window, gets in the car, and goes home. Mom then calls OP and says that she's cutting ties with him over his behavior. She's really fixated on the jump out of the window, and that Sarah will always be like a child to her.
Oh my gosh.
OP's sister called after a while to chew him out for ruining Christmas. And then he finally broke down and told his sister that Sarah cheated on him, which is why he dumped her and didn't want to see her under any circumstances. His sister then called him a big a-hole who was lying to cover for himself, like didn't believe that Sarah had cheated on him. So he says, am I the a-hole for jumping out the window and not wanting to speak to my ex?
Dang,
That's a lot to take in, isn't it?
It just kept getting better or worse.
Yeah, the stakes just kept escalating.
Okay. Man, I
So
mean,
walk me through your initial thought process on this one.
yeah, I mean, the first thing that comes to mind, like in this circumstance, is like it feels like one, man, love is a difficult thing, isn't it? I was gonna say one, like the girlfriend, or I guess the fiance at the time, she was,
Ex-fiance now, yeah.
yeah, she was cheating on him, and he kind of cut ties. And I understand, like, chasing love, like fight for what you love, and things like that. Like I understand that, but also like if he's made it apparent that he doesn't want that relationship, that probably should be respected, at least as far as that relationship is concerned. It's like a whole nother thing that the mom is getting as involved as she is. I think that's kind of the first thing, like the first red flag to comes up, because like even though I say that about like the fiance, like at the end of the day, like you love who you love, and you probably are gonna fight for that. Sounds like she's made a mistake and stuff like that, um but right, the first red flag is like the mom certainly seems to be getting involved much more. I couldn't even believe that she like just kind of unboxes her at like Christmas. Was that the holiday?
Yeah, it was a Christmas Eve family dinner.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess the the individual here, if it said they had been dating for 6 years, is that right?
4, I think.
Okay, 4. Yeah. So if they've been dating for 4 years, likely, Sarah has become part of the family and stuff. So
Yeah.
I can see that, but still, it's just like absolutely incredible that his mom just invites her over and definitely doesn't like respect his wishes for sure. So like, man, I feel bad for this guy.
Yeah, like inviting Sarah wouldn't be out of the ordinary, like if they were still together. But the fact that they'd
Hmm.
broken up and OP had said, like, I don't want to speak to her at all,
Yeah,
like
I feel like he made his intentions clear with that.
it should not be the mother's place at all to get involved with that and say, no, listen, I really like your ex, so you
Yeah.
need to date her. Like that is not how any of that works.
No, I mean, at the end of the day, he's her son. That's how that works.
Yeah, so that whole situation. Let's talk a little bit about the leap out of the window. He did have to kick the screen out of the bathroom window. How do we feel about that means of escape? How do we feel about his handling of the situation?
I think that's impressive. That's what I have to say. That I mean, we don't know whether they were, 2 stories up, or we don't know anything like that. But I'd say, what, like he definitely did not want to be in that situation. Like I don't know anything about his personality, but if you're to the point where you're willing to like kick out a screen window of your like own family's home on like Christmas, like you are not in a good situation.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's
What
impressive. Hopefully you didn't do any damage, but
let's put ourselves in his shoes. Let's say that you are at Christmas Eve dinner with your family and an ex that has cheated on you walks in. What is your move in that scenario?
I don't know. I mean, I probably wouldn't be the person to like hide. I think I probably, if I was in this situation, I probably would have let the family know like right there. Like obviously I don't, if I was cheated on, I wouldn't hold it to the same um like as far as like I would be okay saying I got cheated on, I guess. Like my personality seems like that's kind of a struggle that this individual was
Yeah.
struggling with, is because they said it's demasculating to do that. So obviously I don't relate to that. So I probably would have like let the whole family know, like, hey, you let her in here at Christmas. Let me tell you exactly why I didn't want her to be here. So I feel like that's probably what I would have done in that situation. What about you? What do you say?
Yeah, I think I'm with you. My first instinct isn't run. I probably, like if I had been cheated on, I probably wouldn't be as secretive as OP was about it. I probably would let people know, because like the fact that he's sitting there taking the blame for like the breakup.
Yeah, that's the thing that I feel for. Like that's just not right.
Yeah, it's
You
like if
shouldn't have to be put under that,
yeah,
especially from family.
yeah, and the fact that the family is like favoring, and that he's just dealt with the family favoring the ex over him for all this time just because he doesn't want to admit it. That I don't think I could do that. I think I would, like, regardless of the situation, I think I would say like, this is the reason why we broke up. That's just how it is.
Mhm.
That's just facts. And so I don't think that situation would arrive in the first place. But I think I'm with you where my gut reaction wouldn't be run and hide, because I would probably be too stunned in the moment. Like if
Yeah,
I,
I'd be like,
especially like if
wow.
after saying like I don't want to speak to her ever again, if my family still brought her in, I think I would probably just be too shocked to think about
Hmm.
running. I think I
It
would just,
certainly would be a shock. Like,
yeah. But again, I that's not a situation I've ever been in, so it's hard to anticipate what that feels like.
yeah, I certainly feel like, in this situation, definitely the mom, is at least out of like overstepping boundaries, definitely the mom is in the biggest, like her fault. Like she shouldn't have done that. Girlfriend too, she probably should
Yeah,
respect this,
probably shouldn't
but
have gone after getting the invitation. Probably should have said, no, I'm probably not. It's going to be weird if I show up.
yeah, I was gonna say that probably should be on her as well. But definitely the person who I think overstepped the most is certainly the mom in this
Yes, she's
situation.
the worst in this situation for sure.
Yeah. Dang,
Um,
man, what a roller coaster.
I choose you, Snorlax says, F that. Your mom, Sarah, and your sister are all a-holes. The nerve of her to show up at your mom's house. I'm angry just reading this. I don't understand why your mother is so invested in Sarah. Why would you want to tell her Sarah cheated on why would you want to tell her Sarah cheated on you after how your sister acted? What a mess. Not gonna lie, you kicking out the screen and taking off is straight savage. Reflexes up on legendary. Not the a-hole.
Yeah, I think that's impressive.
Gunter Time disagrees a little bit and says, I gotta say though, OP should have come clean at some point before it escalated to any of this. It shouldn't have been his family's business at all. And yes, she should have believed him when he said he was cheated on. But come on, when you reach the point that you have to essentially break out of your mom's bathroom and get to your car to drive away to avoid telling someone what happened, you have to take a step back and see how that looks to people.
That's fair.
Yeah. Yeah. It's This says Gunter Time replies to another comment, continuing his process of thought, saying, in my opinion, manipulative people are much worse in real life because it's so much more subtle than in movies. In general, people will tend to believe whoever talks to them first, and in some cases, uh, given and in some cases gives them what they need to hear. Sarah did this. By OP not telling them immediately what happened, Sarah was able to tell them what happened in quotes and get them on her side. Remember in the beginning of the post, OP stated the family had already blamed him for the breakup. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Sarah swooped in and stole his credibility.
Hmm. Yeah, not fun.
All right. One more.
Yeah, let's see. We can do one more. Let me.
Can you top the fried chicken skins?
That's what I'm thinking. Like, man, do you have a real good one to end on? Or I do have a pretty good one here, but
Okay, let's hear yours.
okay. So this person here posted by Book Club Dramas about a year ago. This person said that they started a book club about 5 years ago. They have about 45 members total. Wow.
Nice.
She said, typically there are about like fewer than 10 people to show up to each discussion, but sometimes upwards of 30. She said that, she's very conscious that being a part of a book club does incur some cost. So she's tried working out deals with bookstores and local libraries to try and pick books that people would be able to access easily, and certainly has tried to pick ones that wouldn't be like bestsellers in the moment so that
Sure.
it's not limited and such. So, she's been working to try and get some sort of discount for people. And she said that in a meeting about a week ago from the time writing this, someone was pretty new to the group and made a comment about how she never buys books, and then the person OP was saying, I thought it just meant that she liked libraries, but she talked more. She said that she called libraries old fashioned. And when OP asked her, she said, well, I downloaded it from, whatever site, and you can download any book that you want from these websites. So she admits to pirating this book.
Okay.
And so OP is like, you know what, that's not cool. Like, you should get a library card. And then the person in this situation says, I would buy it. I can afford it, but I just don't want to if I don't have to. So now there's an argument over, even like censorship, whether people should be allowed to pirate books, whether that's cool or not, whether this person should be kicked out of the group or not for pirating a book here. So the OP asks her to leave, saying that, stealing is not acceptable. This person got upset, saying like everyone does it. And then there's a little bit of drama on Facebook, but that's the circumstance that we're looking at here.
I see. This is an interesting one. She said that she doesn't want to buy the book if she doesn't have to. Well, you also don't have to be in the book club, so seems like
that's a fair point.
Seems like we have an answer to that one. As far as and pirating, whether it's books or movies or people that emulate games, I think I have a pretty universal opinion on all of it. If the person if the person or people whose creative energies went into creating the thing, if they are still around, then you shouldn't do it, because otherwise you're invalidating their work. But if you are going to pirate like Great Gatsby, like F. Scott Fitzgerald, dead, he's dead, dude.
So, I think actually Great Gatsby just turned into public domain just this year, actually.
Well, I
think so. I want to say so.
It's a terrible example I could have chosen. But like that's the point. And I kind of formed this opinion around like game emulation first. People like Nintendo would keeps shutting down emulation sites, but it's like if these are games that you are not releasing and they are not available to the public any other way, like old school like N64 or GameCube games that are only going for they're for like $300 on eBay and none of that money is going to Nintendo at all, like you should be able to emulate that because you can't get the game feasibly any other way. Same for like with movies. Say you want to watch like an old like black and white Charlie Chaplin film. If you buy that, Charlie Chaplin and the people who filmed that movie, they're long gone. So they're not going to be able.
They're not
their work
from that.
Yeah, their work can't be. They can't benefit from the work that they put in anymore. So pirate the heck out of it, because the only people that you are taking money from at that point is the studio who bought the rights to it, and they had nothing to do with the creation of the thing. But as far as books go, if the author is still alive, then buy the book, because as someone with a creative writing degree, it's really hard to make money writing. So you got to help those people out.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I mean, like growing up, you and I would share music all the time. And I mean, even growing up, there were times where like I look up movies online and stuff. I certainly wouldn't do that now. That's for sure, and I loved even though we would share music all the time, like when Green Day came out with their albums, we all went and bought them because we wanted to support the artist. I think that's something that's definitely important here, is like especially when it's not just kind of like oh well, I'm just taking money from a big conglomerate company, especially when it's related to an artist like that's someone's livelihood. That's how they've worked hard to be able to make that possible. So that's definitely not cool.
Yeah, especially when this person says that like they have the means to buy it, they just don't want to.
Yeah.
Like when we were in high school pirating music, like I didn't have a job in high school. My only money was allowance. So I didn't necessarily have the means to buy all the music that I was listening to. But now that I'm an adult with an adult job, I can afford to pay for Spotify Premium. I can afford to get movie tickets. So I won't pirate anymore because I now have the means to consume that media in a way that isn't detrimental to the parties involved.
Yeah, certainly. So I think we know where we stand as far as like pirating stuff like that. So as far as an individual in your book club, Norrin, you find out that they are pirating a book, what would you do? What would your response be?
They're out.
Kick them out?
Yeah, yeah. It's a book club. You know what you're getting into and you sign up for it. She said my point from when we first started talking about this stance. She said she doesn't want to buy the book if she doesn't have to. You don't have to be in the book club. Go find a book club that supports your piracy if that's what you're into.
A pirate book club.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, no, I say, yeah, get her out of there. If you have rules for your book club and those rules include like a purchase or rent of the book from a library, then like that's what you got to do.
Yeah, I think that's like especially a key thing here is like there are so many options available to this person. They can, one, they said that they do have the means to buy it. So one, they could just buy it. Two, they could rent it, from the library. I guess that's not quite renting, is it? But they can get it from the library. They have a whole lot of options, so they don't need to resort to this. That doesn't need to be it. And especially like, if you're the one who starts this book club, I feel like that's in your right to put any rules on it. One thing she did say, the person writing this, was that like some people in the group agreed or disagreed with her. So it wasn't just kind of like, 50 people versus the one,
Right.
it was some bit of discord, but, I certainly agree that this person was in the right, doing what she was capable of doing. And yeah, I certainly agree. Don't pirate, just kind of as a baseline rule, usually best not to pirate.
Yeah. Yeah. And like, granted, there are a lot of worse things that someone can do than
Yeah,
pirate,
certainly.
but like I said, if you have the means to not do it and you're doing it simply because it's easier, like that's a little scummy.
Yeah, I know like one thing that like I love about being an adult is like, money is always nice, but I like having money because that means like I can support like other creators and stuff. That's like one of my favorite things to do is like, even if typically I wouldn't like buy something that's like in this price range or purchase this, I see it as an opportunity to invest in someone. I see it as an opportunity to support. And that's something like I've come to love. I love just being in a position to be able to do something like that. So yeah, I have no problem supporting it, especially, it's a book club. You're there probably because you like books.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like a book club is a place for book lovers. And if you don't
Yeah.
love books, like if you pirate a book, you're obviously not that into it. But yeah, I totally agree with you. As a creative myself, someone who is creating content to for people to use, I love supporting other creators. I get on our Dungeon Stories Twitter page, I get DMs all the time from other RPG studios, like setting up Kickstarters and stuff like that. And I am always happy to check them out and share those Kickstarters with people. And I back a fair number of them as well, just because I like to, if I can, I like to be able to support people in those creative endeavors and hope that when I get some of my endeavors to a stage at which they're ready to be supported by people, I hope that they'll return the favor. So
Yeah, certainly. That's certainly what I stand with. I chose this one because it's interesting because the comments is completely split in this situation. A lot of it is arguing about the rules of piracy and like who gets the money at the end of the day and stuff like that. So it certainly is interesting, but I think we know where we stand for
yeah.
sure.
And again, like if her pirating a book is such a big deal to her that she will do it regardless of the arguments that she hears, then at the end of the day, there are other book clubs like this. This obviously isn't
Yeah,
the one
there
for
are
you.
other options.
So it's not like anyone is out anything. especially because she didn't spend money on the books anyway. So it's not like she's losing money getting kicked out of the
True.
book club.
That's very true.
So yeah, it's just at the end of the day, like there are other options. You joined a book club because you wanted to be in a book club. So if you're not going to follow the rules of that specific club, then this isn't the one for you.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that.
What is the post branded? Usually they tag
Yeah,
them.
so this post has been branded not the a-hole, which I certainly agree.
Okay, that's good. That's good. But the comments are pretty split about it.
Yeah, the comments are all over the place. Obviously, it was branded not the a-hole in this situation, but it's one of the like longest comment sections I've seen, just because everyone is
Has something to
fighting
say, yeah.
back and forth about piracy itself.
Yeah, that tracks. Well, that was a good one to end on.
Yeah,
we got to do some actual moral discussion, not just hypothetical ones. Like we talked about a real,
not just, hey, she ate the chicken skins.
Yeah, we talked about a real hot button issue. So look at us tackling the big stuff on Goodland.
Oh yeah.
And you know what, everyone, if you want to be not the a-hole, then you should like and subscribe to this video on YouTube or leave us a 5-star review on iTunes.
That's a good transition.
Yeah. If you dislike the video, unfortunately, we have to label you the a-hole. So that's just how it goes. That's just the rules. We don't make
the dice roll.
Well, we do make the rules because we make Goodland, but you know what I'm saying. We want to thank you for checking it out, for listening along with us. If there are any segments from previous episodes that you enjoyed, please let us know. Spencer Sparks, our very first guest, clear back from episode 2, messaged me today and said that he really liked the Goodlywed game. He said that it was a fantastic idea and he had a lot of fun listening to it. So maybe we'll do another Goodlywed game here pretty soon, because that seemed to be a hit to Spencer Sparks in particular. So if you have any that resonated with you in particular, please let us know. Andrew Shank told me that he really liked the Yahoo Answers one that we did. So we could take another look at that, assuming the McElroy brothers are okay with us stealing their groove again. We did that as kind of a farewell to the service, but Andrew Shank liked it, and who are we to say no to Andrew Shank? So
we can't deny.
We cannot deny him the pleasure of us. That sounded a little bit weird, but I'm going to brush past it.
We'll just forget that.
With that, if you want more of Michael and I, check out Dungeon Stories. We play Dungeons and Dragons. If you like Dungeons and Dragons, well, good, we've got it for you. If you are interested in beginning to like Dungeons and Dragons, good, we've got it for you. So come check out Dungeon Stories in all the same places that you find Goodland here. We are also on Instagram and Twitter and TikTok as Goodland Pod. So find those. TikTok has some clips, a little bit more clips than what we put on just Instagram and Twitter. It's getting a little bit more. So definitely check that out. Thank you to Parker Hinshaw for creating our fantastic intro. You can find him on Twitter. He has since rebranded. He's no longer KuzcoBeats. He's now Kuzco Sucks. And that's with an X at the end. So that's KuzcoSux. So check out Kuzco Sucks. He has an album coming out on Spotify that's going to be releasing any moment now. So stay tuned for that. Check out @Kuzco Sucks on Twitter to follow along for that intro. And thank you, Parker, for that fantastic music that you have gifted us with. And with that, everybody, Michael, is there anything you need to say before we close out?
No, I think that's perfect.
I covered it. So everybody, with that, this has been Goodland, and I'm glad you're alive.